When people ask me to define leadership, I tell them that I think leadership is influence. In fact, that's what I think. I think it's influence. I think it's nothing more. I think it's nothing less. I think the person that has the most influence on people is the one that people are going to follow. And the reason 30 years ago I started calling the lecture The 5 Levels of Influence is because I realized I had a challenge. The challenge back there, Darren, is very simple. People didn't even think they needed to be trained as a leader. They didn't think they needed leadership training because they would say, I'm already a leader. I already am the department supervisor. And it was kind of like, I am that. Why would I be trained? That's what I am now. I lead. That's what I do. And I realized I had a real uphill battle because people thought leadership was a noun. So I thought, okay, I've got to come in the back door here. I can't come in the front door. That door is already guarded. So I went in the back door by asking the question, how would you like to increase your influence with people? How would you like to increase your influence as a parent with your children? As a spouse? As a neighbor? As somebody who sits maybe on a community board? How would you like to, well, everybody wanted to increase their influence. So I started teaching it as the 5 levels of influence, which is nothing more than what it is today. Of course, it's much more mature now, and it's a much higher level of teaching, but the concept is still the same. In fact, I wrote a book many years ago, which is a leadership book, but I didn't think the people were ready for a leadership book yet, so I did a kind of a soft book on leadership called Becoming a Person of Influence. And all that book is, it's a leadership book. But it's a disguised leadership book. It just says, let me give you the ways to become a person of influence, and you can kind of follow those, knowing that if they truly did those things, guess what? They would become a person of influence, and if they were a person of influence, guess what? People would listen to them, people would follow them. So I started off with the 5 levels of influence because I felt it's the best way to start teaching leaders leadership before they realized that they needed to learn how to lead.
The longer I have been in public service and the more people have asked me about leadership over the years, leadership ultimately comes down to creating conditions of trust within an organization. Good leaders are people who are trusted by followers. Leaders take organizations past the level that the science of management says is possible. One of my sergeants back in the infantry school at Fort Benning almost 50 years ago, which is where I learned everything I ever got to learn about leadership, was at the infantry school. And he said to me one day, he said, Lieutenant, you'll know you're a good leader when people follow you, if only out of curiosity. I've never had a better definition. Because what he was saying, and I've seen it experienced in my life so many times, what he was saying is, they trust you. And you have built up that trust. How did you do it? Clear mission and statement, selfless service. People look to you and they trust you because you're serving selflessly as the leader, not self-serving, selflessly. And that you prepare the followers, you train them, you give them what they need to get the job done. Don't give them a job if you're not going to give them the resources, and that you're prepared to take the risks with them. And so they would teach us at the infantry school, no matter how cold it is, Lieutenant, you must never look cold. No matter hungry you all are, Lieutenant, you must never appear hungry. No matter how terrified you are, Lieutenant, you must never look terrified. Because if you are scared, terrified, hungry, and cold, they will be scared, terrified, hungry, and cold. I've gotten away with that many, many times in the course of my career by being scared to death, cold, and wanting to go to sleep. But no, let's go. Let's keep going. Let's go around this corner, if only out of curiosity. And they'll follow you into the darkest night, down the deepest valley, up the highest hill, if they trust you. So the essence of leadership is about doing all that the science of management says you can with resources, but then taking it that extra step and giving it that spark. And that spark comes from getting people to trust you so that they will follow you, if only out of curiosity.
I'm Brian Tracy, and I want to talk to you now about leadership qualities. More than 50 qualities have been identified that are important to great leaders. But there are 7 leadership qualities that seem to stand out as being more important than the others. The good news is that each of these leadership qualities can be learned, and they must be learned by practice and repetition. First of all, great leaders have vision. They can see into the future. They have a clear, exciting idea of where they are going and what they're trying to accomplish, and they're excellent at strategic planning in getting there. Now, this quality of vision separates them from managers. Having a clear vision turns the individual into a special type of person. This quality of vision changes a transactional manager, someone who works with people to get the job done, into a transformational leader, someone who transforms the future of the business. While a manager gets the job done, great leaders tap into the emotions of their employees. Now, the second quality of a great leader is courage. The quality of courage means that you are willing to take risks in the achievement of your goals with no assurance of success. Because there's no certainty in life or business, every commitment you make and every action you take entails a risk of some kind. Among the 7 leadership qualities, courage is the most outwardly identifiable trait of a leader. The third quality is integrity. In every strategic planning session that I've conducted for large and small corporations, the first value that all the gathered executives agree upon for their company is integrity. They all agree on the importance of complete honesty in everything they do, both internally and externally. The core of integrity is truthfulness. Integrity requires that you always tell the truth to all people in every situation. Truthfulness is the foundation quality of the trust that is necessary for the success of any business. The fourth quality of a great leader is humility. Great leaders are those who are strong and decisive, but also humble. Humility doesn't mean that you're weak or unsure of yourself. It means that you have the self-confidence and self-awareness to recognize the value of others without feeling threatened. It means that you are willing to admit that you could be wrong, that you recognize you may not have all the answers. And it means that you give credit where credit is due. The fifth quality is strategic planning. Great leaders are also outstanding at strategic planning. They have the ability to look ahead, to anticipate with some accuracy where the industry and the markets are going. Leaders have the ability to anticipate trends well in advance of their competitors. They continually ask, based on what is happening today, where is the market going? Where is it likely to be in 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, and 2 years? What will customers want? And they do this through thoughtful strategic planning. Leaders always focus on the needs of the company and the situation. Leaders focus on results, on what must be achieved by themselves and by others and by the company. Great leaders focus on strengths in themselves and in others. They focus on the strengths of the organization, on the things that the company does best in satisfying demanding customers in a competitive marketplace. Your ability as a leader to call the shots and make sure that everyone is focused and concentrated on the most valuable use of their time is essential to the excellent performance of your company. The most important contribution you can make to your company is to be a leader, to accept responsibility for results, and to dare to go forward.
Tell me, Francois, what is your philosophy on leadership? How do you inspire your team to do their best?
By example. I've always thought to lead by example, sir.
Well, that is right. That is exactly right. But how to get them to be better than they think they can be? That is very difficult, I find. Inspiration, perhaps. How do we inspire ourselves to greatness when nothing less will do? How do we inspire everyone around us? I sometimes think it is by using the work of others. On Robben Island, when things got very bad, I found inspiration in a poem.
A poem?
A Victorian poem. Just words, but they helped me to stand when all I wanted to do was to lie down.